If a dog sleeps beside you every night, the reason often feels obvious. Most owners label it as love, comfort, or routine. That explanation sounds warm, but it misses what actually drives the choice. Dogs do not select sleep locations based on emotion alone. Sleep places are chosen by the nervous system. Rest is the only time a dog releases environmental awareness. Muscles soften, breathing slows, vigilance drops. In that state, safety is not optional. Research in animal behavior shows deep rest occurs only when surroundings feel stable, predictable, and non-threatening. Because of that, sleeping location becomes a biological decision, not a sentimental one. The spot a dog returns to night after night reveals where the body feels protected enough to shut down completely. If understanding dogs beyond surface behavior matters to you, consider subscribing. These quiet signals shape trust more than visible affection. And to understand why this choice matters so much, it starts with recognizing why sleep is the most vulnerable state in a dog's life. Sleep is the most vulnerable state for a dog. For a dog, sleep is not simply downtime or recovery. It is the one period when environmental awareness drops almost completely. Muscle tension releases, breathing slows, sensory scanning fades. In that moment, the ability to respond disappears. And that loss of readiness carries real biological weight. Even inside a quiet home, far removed from threat, the nervous system treats sleep as exposure. Rest is allowed only when surroundings feel stable enough to permit it. Lying down can happen almost anywhere, but deep rest operates under stricter rules. True rest appears only when the body senses predictability across time. This explains why unfamiliar houses disrupt sleep, why travel causes frequent waking, and why routine changes create restless nights. The body waits for consistency before disengaging. Because of that, where a dog chooses to sleep carries meaning far beyond companionship. Returning to the same sleeping place night after night reflects where the nervous system has learned it can stand down without risk. That choice has little to do with seeking company and everything to do with biological permission to relax. In a familiar presence, movement follows patterns, energy remains even, sounds occur within expectation. That steadiness allows tension to dissolve. Position choices matter as well. Sleeping nearby without contact, selecting the foot of a bed, or settling along the same edge each night are not habits formed by emotion. Each placement reflects calibration. Distance adjusts based on what feels safest for full rest, not on affection levels. That distinction matters. Safety does not require closeness. Reliability allows rest. Once a dog locates a space where reliability holds steady, the body returns there repeatedly. That process leads directly to understanding why certain people feel easier to sleep beside than others. Your nervous system becomes the anchor. Dogs do not regulate stress alone. Calm develops through interaction with surroundings, and the strongest influence in a shared sleeping space is not touch or verbal reassurance. Emotional consistency carries the most weight. When sleep begins, the human body settles into a rhythm. Breathing evens out. Movement slows. Signals become predictable. For a dog, that rhythm delivers information. A steady presence requires no adjustment or monitoring. No anticipation becomes necessary. Small changes register clearly to canine perception. Shifts in posture, irregular breathing, restlessness, or tension held in the body all activate awareness. When signals remain consistent, the nervous system can soften beside that presence. This explains why some dogs gravitate toward individuals who feel calm, even when others provide equal care or affection. Love alone does not regulate biology. Predictability does. Over time, repeated exposure to steady rhythms teaches the body that vigilance is unnecessary nearby. Rest becomes possible, not through emotion, but through regulation. This is also why sleeping preferences vary. Individuals who move frequently, carry stress into bed, or shift energy unpredictably may feel harder to rest beside. Nothing is wrong in those situations. The nervous system simply stays active, rather than settling. A dog does not mirror sleep patterns. Stabilization happens alongside them. Once that stabilizing presence is learned, it becomes part of how stress is managed across the day, not just during sleep. Bedtime becomes a biological anchor. That learned stability explains why sleep location often remains consistent even as circumstances change. And that understanding leads directly to another factor often misunderstood: scent. Why your scent means stability, not comfort. Scent is often described as comfort when discussing canine sleep behavior. But for a dog, scent serves a different function. Smell provides information. It communicates what typically happens in a space. Embedded within scent is memory, not of emotional moments, but of outcomes. Where scent remains strongest, expectations already exist: daily rhythms, movement patterns, environmental behavior across time. That familiarity allows the nervous system to relax without investigation. This explains why a dog may choose the same sleeping spot repeatedly, even when space feels cramped or less comfortable. Softness rarely drives the decision. Predictability does. The area carrying the most consistent signals becomes preferred because fewer surprises occur there. A specific side of the bed holds information about entry, settling, breathing, and rest cycles. For a dog, that consistency reduces uncertainty. This process does not indicate emotional dependence or hidden affection. The body recognizes a stable environment and responds accordingly. In unfamiliar locations, dogs often seek items carrying a familiar scent. The reason is not missing a person. The smell represents known patterns of safety. Regulation arrives faster when expectations are already learned. Scent acts as a shortcut to nervous system calm. It communicates that the environment behaves the same way it always has. When deciding where to sleep, that message matters more than warmth or luxury. This also explains why sleep location changes often follow environmental shifts rather than relationship changes. Altered routines, new stressors, or different rhythms disrupt predictability, prompting adjustment. And that adjustment reveals something important about movement during the night, a behavior that carries meaning often overlooked. If these quiet patterns help you understand your dog better, you may want to subscribe. What it means when sleeping positions change. Movement during sleep often gets interpreted as communication, but most of the time it reflects regulation rather than emotion. Dogs adjust position throughout the night for many reasons: temperature shifts, background noise, changes in pressure from the mattress or floor, even subtle changes in breathing or movement within the space registered during rest. When a dog moves closer, creates distance, or steps off the bed entirely, the nervous system is responding to new information. Sleep requires balance. If breathing patterns change, if motion becomes uneven, or if energy in the room shifts, regulation can be interrupted. When that happens, the body seeks a position that restores stability. Distance in that moment is not rejection, it is correction. Well-regulated dogs often move more freely because safety allows adjustment without stress. Stillness does not always indicate rest. Distance does not indicate disconnection. Some dogs sleep in brief contact before shifting away. Others begin near the feet and return later. Some alternate between surfaces throughout the night. Such patterns are not habits formed by preference or routine. Each movement is a response aimed at restoring internal balance. When repositioning is viewed as emotional withdrawal, the underlying purpose is missed. The goal during sleep is not closeness. The goal is nervous system regulation. When regulation drops, the body relocates until equilibrium returns. Understanding this removes unnecessary pressure. A dog adjusting position is not pulling away. The nervous system is responding to changing input in order to maintain rest. Once the body settles again, sleep continues. Recognizing this pattern clarifies behavior that often confuses owners and prepares the ground for an important distinction rarely discussed. When sleeping with you is not a positive signal, sharing a sleeping space does not always mean deep rest is occurring. In some cases, proximity reflects vigilance rather than calm. Certain dogs remain close because disengaging does not feel possible. Awareness stays active. Monitoring continues. Small movements trigger response. Sleep remains light and fragmented. Frequent repositioning, Easy waking or constant alertness may appear subtle, but the nervous system remains engaged. In such situations, closeness does not soothe the body. It keeps regulation active. This pattern is common in sensitive dogs or homes with unpredictable routines. Staying nearby becomes a way to manage uncertainty rather than release it. This is not a failure, it's information. A nervous system unable to fully relax often needs greater predictability during waking hours, not increased closeness at night. That distinction matters. Proximity without relaxation creates strain over time. Muscles remain tight. Breathing stays shallow. Rest becomes incomplete. True regulation appears quiet. Breathing remains slow. Posture loosens. Movement decreases naturally. When those signals are missing, sleeping beside an owner may indicate vigilance instead of comfort. Recognizing this removes guilt from the relationship. Focus shifts away from behavior and toward internal state. The important question becomes whether genuine rest is happening, not mere sleep occurs. Understanding this difference explains why sleeping preferences sometimes shift and why certain individuals feel easier to rest beside than others. Why your dog chooses you over everyone else. Sleeping preferences are often mistaken for favoritism or emotional hierarchy. In reality, selection is driven by regulation. Within the same household, each person carries a unique nervous system signature. Movement patterns differ. Energy levels vary. Emotional steadiness is inconsistent. Dogs perceive those differences even when humans overlook them. One individual may move less during sleep. Another may carry tension into bed. Another may follow a consistent routine night after night. Predictability matters more than affection. A nervous system seeking rest chooses the environment that requires the least adjustment. This explains why a dog may sleep beside someone who feels emotionally neutral rather than someone who plays more, feeds more, or shows more outward affection. The choice reflects compatibility, not loyalty. Beside one person, breathing can slow naturally. Muscles can soften. Vigilance becomes unnecessary. Once that association forms, the body returns there without effort. Preferences can shift over time due to stress, aging, or routine changes. Nothing about this process is fixed or personal. The nervous system selects the space where rest feels easiest. Viewed through this lens, the behavior loses symbolism. It becomes simple, not emotional, not relational, just biology prioritizing rest. The bottom line, what your dog is really communicating when a dog sleeps beside you night after night, no message is being sent. No statement is being made. That choice is not a request for closeness, attention, or reassurance. It is not loyalty in a human sense, and it is not an emotional gesture. The decision comes from the body, not from thought. Beside you, the nervous system has learned that vigilance is unnecessary. Movement follows patterns. Energy remains steady. The environment does not demand constant monitoring. That stability allows the body to release tension and enter real rest. What looks like affection from the outside is regulation on the inside. Understanding this changes how the behavior is viewed. There is no need to interpret meaning or assign symbolism. Pressure falls away. Concern about what the moment represents fades. Nighttime does not require reassurance, performance, or interaction. Consistency matters far more. When consistency exists, rest occurs naturally, without effort or intent. That quiet settling is the goal, not closeness itself. Subscribe for more insights into how dogs communicate safety and comfort through behavior. Subtle patterns like this shape how dogs feel in ways most people never notice. Sleeping beside you is not a gesture or a signal. It happens because in that space, the body finally recognizes safety and allows rest to take over.